I want you to know that culturally, there is a way that we have thought our entire life and lives, in existence, right? This has gone on for centuries and stuff. And then I'm going to show you what would have been nice had they taught us this thing I'm about ready to share that would have given us the opportunity to experiment with it. So I'm going to show you where in your education, not only were you taught a way to do it and told it's the way, but their teachers were taught that too, and their teachers were taught that too. And it wasn't really about experimentation. And I said early on, this is about the scientific method fully laid out for rehab. All right, so out of 100, this is 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 1, or 10, 20, 30. Out of 100 patients that would come into you with a total knee replacement on the right side, how many of them would expect you to move and exercise or treat the right leg? Hold your hands up. I know it seems like a pretty stupid question, but I don't want it to be my answers. You can keep them up there. Okay. Obviously, it's a stupid question in some degree, but I want you to show that's it. You see that? 100% are going to. What percent are going to be okay or think it's cool or think totally get an idea? I understand why you're doing my left leg to fix my right leg. What percent of them? Because you just said 100%, right? Expect you to treat that. Okay, now let's talk about professionally. If 100 clinicians have to treat somebody with a right total knee, what percent are going to start their treatment on the right leg, whether that's the right pelvis, maybe even the lumbar, maybe the knee, maybe the ankle, maybe somewhere on the right side? Out of 100 clinicians, who is going to start on the right side? 100%, 90, 80, and leave your hands up there for a second. What percent? Right? So we do what was expected of us, right? And what's been expected of us is that. It's about treating the injured area. Now, I'm going to step out of this for a second. I'm going to tell a little story. If a deer is in the woods and it sprains its back right leg or hoof, it's going to weight bear less on the back right leg, and it's going to weight bear more on the other three. Just observation. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But now, before I say about the three, if I were to say without saying about the three, what is causing that back right leg to heal? Ask this a million times in seminars, and people say, not using it less. Right? Would you guys agree? Mm-hmm. Yep. And I said, okay, what about using the other three is what's making it more, is what's making it heal? It's almost ignored. The other three are ignored. Just don't do something with the back right leg. Now, we do a bunch with somebody who has a total knee, right? A lot in it. But how can you prove that? Well, if you do twice as much with the other three, does it heal the other one faster? And you will find out it does. May not be you have to do each of them, all three of them, doubly loaded. But what you saw in those videos was us taking one of those extremities, doing it more, because it's a good one, and it massively changed the back right hoof. So what you began seeing in the videos is those other three working to fix the injured one. Right? So out of 100 clinicians, how many of them use a leg to fix a right shoulder? 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. All right. So we've gotten into a routine to look at the injured area. It's kind of like you have 4 quadrants, 4 areas. Okay. So when I talk about a right shoulder, we've been permissioned to do the right shoulder, maybe even the arm, all the way down the hand, right? Ribs, thoracic, neck, because the veins run, or the nerves run down, right? We've been given permission. Out of 100 clinicians, how many go to the other side to fix the right side? Why? You're gonna wonder in a second when I get done here, why the heck haven't we been? Because when I tell you what the overlying principle of the body is, you'll go, oh shoot. All right, I got it. All right. Give me a second more though. So there we are. Nobody does this to do this. Very little go down to the legs to fix this one and this one, because what's the opposite of the right side? There's a lot of them. The opposite is left to right, top to bottom, and diagonal. In other words, if I cut up, if I take a piece of pie, it's funny because I take a piece of pie, a pizza, let's just say, and I'll do this. You guys see that? There's number 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the opposite of the number 1 slice of pizza? Hold up your fingers. Is it 2, 3, or 4? See that? You guys all say 3. Okay. Well, when I said, hey, can you fix the right shoulder with the left leg? Right? We were saying yes, or with the legs. But look, the opposite of number 1, left to right, is number 2. The opposite of number 1, top to bottom, is number 4. The opposite diagonally is 1 and 3. I'm going to make this be, we're a 3-dimensional creature. We live in a 3-dimensional universe. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to show you real quick. You see that? So you have the Y or the Z axes. I used to be a math teacher. Did I tell you guys that? All right. Sorry, didn't come through very well. Ding, 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 ding. This, every time you're doing an arm and a leg, all right? Now notice there's 2 quadrants here. I'm going to share in a second. There's 2 here, there's 2 here, there's 2 here. You don't have to really know this stuff, all right? But to me, it's kind of cool. It doesn't have to be cool to you, all right? So there's what it looks like, all right? So with that said, the opposite of 1 is 2, but the opposite of 1 is also down here, is also here. So it means that this quadrant can be changed by this one, and this one, just like the deer in the woods. But remember this 2 part here in a second. I'm going to explain that a little bit more. There's 2 here, there's 2 here. There's actually 8 pieces of the pie once we split you diagonally from a 3-dimensional. Okay, let's move on a little bit. 4 rules. All right, these are laws, kind of like gravity, and you'd be like, okay, prove that to me. Well, here it is. The body is made up of tissue, hard tissue and soft tissue. There is nothing else except blood. Maybe that's liquid tissue. I'm not sure, okay? That's it. Every tissue that we then talk about is harder or softer, viscera, nerves, vessels, all of it. And there's actually 9 of them if you get the way we separate them, like fascia, visceral, muscles, tendons and ligaments, and I always miss some of the nerves, the arteries, the veins. I'm missing 2 more, all right? Those are all there, they're tissue. The first law is there's only 2 things you can do with tissue: lengthen and shorten, compress and decompress. It's the same thing, lengthen or shorten. That's it. So when we, in all these techniques we do, all right, let me come back to law 1. I got to write down I'm on law 1. I got to go back. I got to go take a step back here for you guys for a second. How did we get here in the first place? How did we get just being told, hey, here's what we do? It's a right total knee. We do the right total knee, right? Well, here's how it goes. Is that if you were taught how to do a joint move on the right shoulder, you were taught to move the joint around, find the most restricted, right? And so if we found out anterior to posterior was the most restricted, out of 100 clinicians, how many will start into anterior to posterior? What percent? Out of 100 clinicians, if that's the most restricted, Who's going to start there? Another giant percentage, large, almost all of us. Okay. That's what we were taught. But in order to, and that's it, boom, that's what you do. Right. And then you're taught, okay, maybe we do some other parts and stuff. But why didn't we compare it like this? If you've got moving the joint around and you found out, oh, that's the most restricted, your mind was also calculating what was the easiest. So what if we had gone and done 2 sets into what was restricted and found this result, then gone and found out what the easiest one was, and then did 2 sets and see what the result is? Then you would have been doing experimenting, and you would have found the exact same thing I found to this point. That the lengthening and shortening is the same as finding what's easy and what's hard. The hardest is showing you what doesn't like to elongate. Okay, it's been stuck somehow. And the shortening usually shows you the way it wants to go, perhaps, right? So with that said, law 1, first of all, says, hey, number 1 is tissue lengthens or shortens. Number 2 says this. All right. Well, let me ask you this question. If given an injury, out of 100 clinicians, are they going to go to the area of injury or not the area of injury to try to fix it? Yeah, exactly. How many are going to go to the area of injury in order to try to fix it? You got it? There is no understanding about what the not injured areas do. So rule number 2 is there's only 2 ways that you're treating somebody. Guess what? There's only 2 areas you're doing. You're either doing the injured area or you're not doing the injured area, which means would be the good areas. So you're either doing the bad areas or you're not doing the bad areas. That makes sense? I'm doing like a double negative kind of there. You're either doing the bad or you're doing the good areas. So you can call them good, bad, or you can just call it the areas of injury or not the areas of injury. That's law 2. That covers everything, right? You see, I'm trying to cover everything within the laws and the paradigm, or in the laws, because that makes it so that they're true, right? And so law is tissue, lengthen and shorten, because we can build off of it here in a second. Good, bad area. Number 3, direction of motion. We were taught that's the most restricted, and we typically, out of 100 clinicians, go into what's most restricted. Well, guess what? It's not just most restricted. We are taught all these planar motions, and we think that we have to know all these planar motions. Truth of the matter is, we are trying to find what's restricted and what's not restricted. What the direction of motion we're going for really isn't these planar motions, but it's really, are you treating into restriction or not restriction? So it's really, are you treating in the direction, in the motion of ease or not ease? Got it? And how many people, you and self included, are treating initially as a routine into ease? Somebody can't lift this way up. Oh, well, we may not go into discomfort, but we're going in the direction of discomfort. But not all the way up to the point of discomfort, but the direction of discomfort versus the direction of ease, which has to do with lengthening and shortening here in a bit. I'll show you. Okay. So I got area, I got direction. And I got lengthening and shortening as you override in once. There. I had a 4th one here. Why am I? That's about it. Why did I call it 4? Okay, good. So now, from that alone, we can enhance what you're currently doing. So tomorrow morning, you can be a better therapist. All right, let me show you. Out of 100 clinicians, how many of them, every single session, test the entire body? Hold your hands up. Every session, They're testing the entire body. That means something in the upper extremities, something in the trunk, and something in the legs. You see it right here. So you guys are representing the professions, okay? It's a very low number there, test the whole body. If you do counter strength, you're testing for tender points in the full body, right? If you do most other things, not much is happening in the full body. It's not a routine to do it every single session. I will tell you, if you get in the habit of testing motion in the upper extremities, trunk, and lower extremities, just one or two of them, noting what's yucky, but also remembering what's yummy. All right. So just test the full body. Okay. You would test the full body in those three areas. Good. If you then will now choose any treatment you so desire and treat for 2 sets of X number of reps. Or it could be time, like I'm just going to do my joint mode for this long, or I'm going to do this for whatever amount of time, or how many reps, okay? And I would do that 2 times. So treat, and the next thing, retest the full body. You would get to the exact same point I'm sitting here, which is, dag it all, the whole body changes the whole body. However, what really changes it, you're going to find if you do it, is the good motions of the body change it faster 7 out of 9 times. 2 tissues in the body appear to like lengthening to provide comfort to them and releasing those spasms or whatever's in them. Veins and lymphatics. Don't know, that's a counter strain idea. Strain, counter strain, you know, or positional release. Veins and lymphatics, maybe because the vessels or the the valves flow the opposite way than the arteries and stuff. Don't know. Okay, but that's the thought process. So anything else is going to have you actually working against yourself, trying to fix somebody. So I always say, if let's say Carmen has treated somebody's shoulder and they come see me, I'm going to say, Carmen's done an awesome job, I know, on that shoulder, treating into restriction. Amazing. I don't need to do it. I'm going to give Carmen all the credit in the world. I'm going to talk that patient up. I said, Carmen's a great therapist, does amazing stuff. All right. Now, I'll then go, here's what I'm going to look at, though. All right. So now this gets to the nitty-gritty. If this shoulder can go into motions of restriction, I don't care what technique you've been doing, 98% of techniques show you to treat into restriction. Find the thing that's not working, go into that direction. Go up to the neck. Look, it's torqued that way, try to push it back into anatomical, right? That's going against it. It doesn't want to go that way. How about going into the way it's wanted? Make it more rotated or something. All right? Go where it's easy to go into. If you do that, on this side. So if you're used to going into restriction when you go into a joint mode, and now you go into ease, you just doubled your abilities. If you were used to going upward to try to change this, now I'm going to multiply your results here in a second. So you do 2 sets into restriction. It doesn't like going this way, so you keep going in this way. Maybe you don't go as high. Maybe you do some wall walks. Good, you do 2 sets. Check out to see what the result is. Awesome. If I say from this fingertip on down to my toes, maybe something's pulling me, not holding up because I'm a full body. All right? So maybe it's my trunk that I should be elongating, because I want to be an elongating or lengthening therapist. So I'll elongate it. So I do 2 sets of elongating or lengthening the trunk to see what it does here. And I find out whatever result it is. And then I adduct the leg to get that IT band really lengthened. Because again, I'm a lengthening therapist. I'm a into restriction therapist, right? I do 2 sets and see what it does. I've just tripled your ability because I took you away from just the shoulder. but I want to give you back shortening. If I lift this arm up, what's happening to this shoulder? It's shortening. So I know this looks crazy that I'm doing the other side when this is the problem area. But remember the law. Law 1 is lengthen, shorten. And when I do this, it shortens this side. This lifts up, this compresses. I could take this trunk and I could side bend. And I could do 2 sets. And I could then recheck, do this and see what happens. I could abduct the leg, shorten that side, see what happens. And now you majorly multiplied your abilities. Because I don't know what needs to be shortened and I don't know what's pulling on that shoulder. So maybe I need to have this leg kick up over this way, right? Maybe this leg needs to kick, maybe this needs to be shortened to stop this arm from not going up. And what happens when I do a squat? What's lengthening and shortening? What's awesome is it doesn't matter when you do the right side sit to stand versus the left side sit to stand, which one is yummy. If neither of them are yummy, that's not the motion we're going to do. Maybe we'll choose another leg motion, okay? But we're not going to do something that has 2 yuckies. We're going to find one that's yummy and one that's yucky, and we're going to track the yucky, but we're going to treat the yummy and see what it does to the shoulder and what it does to the yucky leg. And that's when you have full potential. And me asking you, hey, how many, I want 10 years from now, when I co-ask the question, out of 100 clinicians, what percent are going to treat a total right knee on the total right knee side? And I want people to go, 50-50, right? Because times they'll do into restriction or on the injured, sometimes they'll do not. Actually, I want it to be 1/4. A quarter of the time they'll go into the injured area. A quarter of the time they'll go to the opposite left side. A quarter of the time they'll go to the opposite top side. A quarter of the time they'll do the opposite diagonal side. And you'll eventually see the other 3/4 work faster than into the area of restriction. But you have no experience at it yet. How's your mind going right now? Anybody want to ask or talk or go ahead, Wanda. Unmute yourself. I think, no, yeah, you're going to, bottom left is the unmute button. Should be. Little icon that looks like a microphone. There you go. You got it.
Yeah. What you're saying to me makes perfect sense, but it's just almost overwhelmingly, amazingly so simple.
Yes.
It's like, duh.
Yeah, exactly. We call it stupid simple. And actually, I just had somebody send me a form the other day. Go, Tom, this is stupid. Or no, this is dumb. And I go, I know, isn't it great?
I realize a lot of times I've done that to go to the opposite side first. For whatever reasons, I just
well, weren't we taught? We were taught, like, if somebody's in spasm and all that other stuff, go to the other side until they get used to you and they'll get calmer. And it wasn't that. It was actually treating them.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I have to tell you that diagram you made with the quarters and that is a whole presentation. I have to tell you, it really explains everything. So simple.
Well, okay, I'm going to check. I'm going to go simpler here. Watch this. So when you have quadrant 1, you've got into ease and into restriction. So every quadrant has ease restriction, ease restriction, ease restriction, ease restriction. So you have 4 quadrants, ease or restriction, because that's all tissue does. So you only have 2 choices. All these other choices, yeah, you have to find motion that does it, okay? But you got 2 choices. So if all you've done is into restriction on the injured, right, on one of your quadrants, you've been using 1 of 8 ways. That's 12.5% of the body. If you know how to use all of them, you're 8 out of 8. If I just make you do into ease also on the injured, you're now using 2 of 8. At least you're using a full quadrant. You're using the full quadrant at least. At least you're a quarter amount of a therapist. If I show you how using the other side does something, now you're at least a 50% of the body therapist. This should really make people go, I suck at using the whole body. I'll admit I did. I didn't realize I wasn't using it. It's kind of like looking at the corner, these four corners, but not looking at the three of them. You're looking up there into that quadrant and corner, just like you said. How many patients expect you to do a total knee on the right side? How many professionals expect you to do on the left? Everybody's looking at that corner. And there's three more. Because when you look at the deer in the woods and you ask, hey, why is it healing? Oh, because the right back leg's not working. It's you wearing less. And nobody ignores the other three. And they've never played around with it and gone, holy crap, are you kidding me?